Good morning. Welcome back to Jack's Coffee Break. Happy Monday, I guess. It's not Monday right now for me, but it's probably for you. Um, okay, so listen, I've been sick. I've been for like this whole week, and I've been trying to record. It's gone about as well as you think. You can probably tell, because I sound terrible. So I started recording two other different things, and then realized like create has options. Anyway, we're looking at a clockwork thing. Um Clockwork bearing. And what this does is it allows you to make giant clocks. Or rather, it imparts clocks onto a set of planes in which you can glue blocks together. So this structure right here, which my original goal was to make a rotating like door, like a giant trap door or like a something like that. I have not figured out how to do that yet, but I did find this. So this is acting as the hour hand, and this, as you can probably tell from how fast it's going, is acting as the minute hand. Except that this is Minecraft, so that's like minutes and seconds. Yeah, so it's neat, right? It's really cool. This has so many implications. So many! So many! So anyway, I was working down here. I was gonna try and work on the lush cave and make this neat, and my cat has decided that I'm recording and now is the right time. I'll be back. Okay, anyway, he's done. But yeah, no, so I had originally planned to like, decorate this, make it all nice and lush, start it build, putting in some of our little facades and buildings and stuff like that. And then I found that thing. And you know what we gotta do with this, right? We gotta take it to its logical extreme. I'm also working on this hallway in here. I've decided to do it in prismarine and then just add some lights and stuff. I widened it a little bit, and it actually turned out really well once we get up here. I wasn't sure that we were gonna get the structure to work, but I mean, it looks alright. It looks alright. I'm gonna do something with this. I might, you know what? Yeah, just something more like that, I think. But yeah, so that was the plan, and then I was gonna tell you about the fact that we have grapes now, and onions, and that, food all works, but apparently what we're doing is we're building a clockwork city. So let me go find a nice good place to put this. I'm thinking like right over here. Like somewhere in the middle of the ocean, or maybe over here. Let me go find out what all this is and I'll be back. Okay. We are in this little island patch. Here's our house. Here's this. I thought it might be cute to put it on top of this temple. Water temple thing. That thing. Anyway. I've been experimenting with how far this goes. And I found some limitations. So I've got this box, and then I've got this little platform right here, which is connected to this mechanical bearing, and then these two are not connected. This just sort of floats. And then this is our clockwork. So you can see the two different rotators that I found, at least, in principle. Where this gets interesting is that, well, this situation is not moving. This thing does move, and so long as these two are not connected, they're not linked. However, if I go into this giant machine in here and turn this on, this will stop moving and this will hold in position. Yeah, and then I guess this broke? So, clearances are a thing. Yeah, so as long as one side of a mechanical bearing is moving, it will force the other side to chill. Like just stop. And depending on where it stops, if your clearances are such that it can break mechanical objects, I guess it will break mechanical objects. Yeah, because here's the pump. So, this is something that we have to keep in mind. I tested it over here with this side as well. Normally this side would rotate if all of this was frozen. So, we can tether things together back and forth on each side of the bearing. And so long as we have clearances with good disconnects, we can cause things to rotate on top of other things, without necessarily being connected to the total machine. I hope that any of that made sense. thinking back on it, I don't think it did. Yeah, and then of course the exciting thing is that with anything that rotates in this game, it's treated as a physical object with collision until it interacts with other blocks. So entities get moved, blocks do not. Yeah, so this should be very exciting. I have some ideas on what I'm gonna do with it. It'll be something. It'll be unique. I'll say that. Okay, so great news. I got it ironed out. I've got this giant platform here that I've kind of designed to... It's not quite a gear, but I mean, kind of. I do want to shout out a particular YouTuber real quick because I used their floor plan for this, and I said that I would. So, real quick, I want to shout out Ewin Minecraft, their how to build a forest mansion tutorial. It's absolutely integral for getting all of the dimensions figured out on this. So, yeah, of course now, in order to get this to move, A, you have to glue everything together, but B, I ended up having to go into my config files, so these little glasses right here, and then you can go into configure, and then I went into gameplay settings, let's see, where is it? Infrastructure? No, I made this mistake last time. Kinetics? Contraptions? Yeah. And then changed this max blocks moved. I just doubled it to 4096, so that way we could move this entire structure. And now, you ready for something really trippy? Whee! Oh, I gotta turn that off. It makes you a little sick, I'm not gonna lie. This is a nightmare. I've made a nightmare. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna encase this base ring over here. And then from that encasement, I'm gonna build a platform. And then this is actually gonna be the base of our little, like, island or whatever up here in the sky. So this entire gear is going to rotate underneath our island. So that's kind of like setting the stage for what exactly is going to go in here. We might escape the boundaries a little bit, but my goal is to basically build everything in here that we can and see where it takes us. So yeah, I'm gonna get on that, and I will see you in a little bit. We're not gonna do a flyover because it's literally just me going in lines. It's not gonna be interesting. Okay, yeah, so I'm back. I know, a lot happened. I said that I was gonna make a platform, and then I made a wall. So I did. I made the platform. It's over there. And the more that I worked, and then of course my husband had to go to bed, and so I didn't want to like record while he was sleeping. So I decided I'd just go ahead and add this wall here, because what I found was that if you just have this floor spinning, your brain immediately tries to anchor to any point as like where the flat surface is, so it gives you motion sickness. So having this outer wall here basically makes it so that way you always know where you are, where level is, and where the front and the back and all the sides are. So it decreases motion sickness a little bit. And that's going to be kind of key to making this whole thing work, is that otherwise we're going to make a lot of people very ill. So the other thing that I wanted to do with this, though, is I thought that it would be really cool to make it, like, if we're going to do a Clockwork City, we might as well use, like, a watch as the base, you know? So, failing, you know, short of me cracking open a watch and looking at the internal mechanisms, I just Googled one. So let me pull up that picture for you. Here we are. So, yeah, this is a Adobe stock image, if that helps. But basically I wanted to mimic this kind of outside thing, and then have the set face that's going to be this underlying ring underneath here, and then we'll have each of these districts. And if you look at it, it's basically set up in a flower pattern, so petal, 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 center bloom. And then this little cute thing. But the other thing it does is it establishes layers, so we can work our way from the bottom and go up. And that's something else I want to do, is I really want to play with height. And I made sure to give us plenty of height to work with. So, yeah, we're high up, don't get me wrong, there's the clouds. But even this, I mean, we can go all the way up to like 319 is what I measured. And just standing over here, let's pull up F3. Yeah, we're at 131. So we have just short of 200 blocks of height that we can still work with. And the only issue that I keep running into is that these donkeys keep spawning on my spinny platform. I don't know how to stop that, short of reconfiguring my files. So I'm just not going to. The next thing that I want to do, so this is going to be like the center work tower area. But the next thing I want to do is I want to establish our different districts. Get those platforms moving, and then establish like what buildings we're going to have on each of them. So, yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do next. And maybe this time it'll be interesting enough that I can actually use my fancy software. Also, I love how atmospheric this is. I just need to point out, like, it feels very like I'm kind of hoping for a BioShock kind of thing, and I think I'm getting it. I'm very, very happy. Anyway, yeah, so I'll check in a little while. So, I'm still working on the layout of where all the different bobs are going to be, but I wanted to do something fun and dumb. I'm working on this platform, and I almost sort of measured where I wanted it to be, and then I realized that I'm going to have some clipping issues. So we need to move this entire platform. Now, up to this point, I have been doing that with the use of schematics. But we're going to do something fun and dumb, because we can. So we have something called a gantry carriage. Let me go into here real quick and grab all the bits. The first thing that you need is a shaft, and the other thing that you need is the carriage itself. So, where are you? There's the gantry carriage, and then here is the gantry shaft. So step 1, glue everything together, right? This is going to be kind of important. Let's go ahead and just get this done. So, glue that. Okay, so all this is now glued together. Now we are going to attach a gantry carriage. And I don't know if it needs to be up or down, so that's going to be another exciting thing to find out. I think I'm just going to put it like right here. Maybe. Maybe I am. Here, let's do this. We'll remove this little bit of glue. Oh, do you need to be on a... There it is. Okay. And now we will add the glue back in. That should all be connected now. Okay. What is happening in my texts? Sorry. Anyway, senior breaks are in now. Oh, I think everything's glued together, right? Did I do this correctly? I did this correctly. Okay. Anyway, so now, here's the deal, right? We're going to run into a little bit of clipping because this needs to go in by 2, which is going to hit right there, and then this is going to come out by 3. So this really needs to be shifted like, 2 blocks to the left. So we're going to go ahead and do that real quick. We're literally just going to add another gantry carriage shaft right there, and then we're going to add this little engine, and it's going to scoot the entire thing over and then stop. And now I can just brake the engine, brake the gantry carriage, and it's where I need it to be. So now we can test. So yeah, you don't actually need, like, the schematics. You can just make full edits to the entire structure, which is really nice. So now let's go ahead and make sure that we've got everything where it needs to be. Yes, these tolerances are going to be a little bit tight right here, but I think it's going to work. I think it'll be okay. Let's go ahead and get this finished up. So the other reason why I want to highlight the gantry carriage is because I think it would be really cool if there were, like, platforms that moved back and forth. So that way you could get from, like, one building to another or something like that. I think that would be really neat. I just haven't figured out how to do it yet. So, anyway, we will get there. I'm gonna finish putting out the platforms, though. Okay, great news. We're back. I've got the layout done. As you saw, there was no footage. Most of it was just me doing math. So, not exactly interesting. But I've got all the platforms rotating, so that way you can see everything actually in motion before we get going on the actual, like, building and adding things. So, I'm thinking about having each one of these be its own tower or district or something like that. I think that'll be interesting. And then I want to work on staggering the heights. And the last thing I want to do is... some of these are going to remain smooth, and some of these I'm going to use the clock function to allow for ticking. So that will be the next thing we do, but first off I gotta make sure that all the towers get built in. So yeah, that'll be what we do for the next part of the project. Okay, alright, good morning again. This has taken me several days, but I think it's worth it. So, we've got I'm pretty sure I showed you the exterior rings and all the different platforms moving, I think? Did I show you that? I don't remember anymore. Like I said, it's been days. Anyway, I built a clock tower. It works. I've got these little hands in here. And if we sneak up on it, yeah, you can see the different hands moving, so it's pretty neat. This is one of the little spinning devices that I'm hoping to implement more widely, but I figured if we're going to have a Clockwork tower, let's go ahead and have a Clockwork tower. Anyway, so this is the design that I came up with. I'm pretty happy with it. I wanted to keep it nice and breezy and airy, keep with kind of a color theme. So there's really no way to get up and down it. It really is just for show. You have this base platform right here. This is where I access the mechanism for the grand gear. And then, yeah, it mostly just open air space that doesn't actually, like, have any purpose, but I think it's fine, you know, it's mostly just here to act as, like, a central hub. The next thing that I want to think about is how anybody will ever get up here. If anybody will ever get up here, if this is just going to be sort of a floating display. So, the obvious answer is to make some kind of stationary platform for planes to dock at. That seems like the most obvious thing to do. I think there is a way to make airships with Create. I'm just gonna say it. I think there is. I think you can do it with a deployer and a couple of blocks like a block placer and some railroad tracks and a minecart on a contraption. I think you can do it. But I don't know. I haven't actually tested it yet. Why are you just floating in the void? How did you get here? I'm just gonna... yeah. Oh, I know what it was. It was a marker for this thing. We don't need these. So yeah, the next thing I want to do is get to work on some of these little platforms, so that'll just mean turning off the motor, stabilizing them, and then building up a base, and then some kind of tower system to go on top. So the only thing that we'll need to keep in mind is that because we have these bases, anything that's motorized that we put on top, unless this base stops, it's not going to spin unless we keep these disconnected. So I'm trying to figure out how that's going to end up working. I think it's going to be okay if we just assume that we have some stationary sections, and then some bits underneath spin and some bits don't, or we keep everything on sort of a center line. I think it's possible. So, I figure I'll do this little tower right here, and then we'll go from there. And I have no doubt that designs are going to change, and that maybe this will become accessible, like maybe I'll turn it into something, but yeah, so this is where we're at, as far as the update. Alrighty, another update. So I took that smallest platform, it's floating pretty high up, and this wasn't the design that I had, like, wanted to build for it, but, what it is doing is it's serving a pretty good test run of how these buildings can possibly end up functioning. So I have this one on a mechanical bearing going at the lowest speed, and then these two copper rings are attached via a clockwork bearing. So the lower one is operating on the second tick, and then the orange one is operating on the minute tick. So this will eventually rotate. You can already tell that it's, like, out of line. This central column through here, or central platform, I guess, is not on any sort of rotation. It's meant to just sit there. And then this last thing, I don't know what it is, some kind of mechanical device. Yeah, see, there it goes, it rotated. So this is also attached on a clockwork bearing, but since it's attached only on one layer, it's only operating on minutes, not seconds. So far, it seems like we've got a pretty good idea of what this whole structure could end up, all these structures could end up potentially looking like, as far as, like, their kinetic properties, not their aesthetic. So, I'm gonna work on, like, how I want to break up different districts, and then probably tear this down, start over with it, and see where that carries me. Okay, so there's been progress. Not nearly as much progress as I would like. I ended up having to take a break from it because, I mean, it's motion sickness, I think. But I built this little town square just to see if I could do it, and I could. So the problem is that while this rotates, I'm not moving my camera. The camera just doesn't lock to the direction that you're now facing, if that makes sense. Like, you rotate on the spot. So it makes it very difficult. The other issue that I've been having is the glue. So you'll notice that these are just, like, husks on the inside. There's nothing here. There's nothing here! It's like a little face. Oh my goodness. So yeah, this is, it's a little trippy. So I ended up having to take a break. This platform is that test thing that I was doing. I ended up talking to Raven a little bit, and he suggested that instead I should do, like, an hourglass. And I like it. I think it's good. The sand, quote-unquote, which I'm doing with these stripped logs, is stationary. And then the clock shell itself moves, which gives it this feeling of flow that it doesn't actually have. So it's a massive optical illusion. And then I worked a little bit on adding, like, stationary ground. Just so that way you could have something to stand on that wasn't moving at all times. Without having to be in the tower. Yeah, so the tower is very cool. You can't move up and down it. This is really, I mean, this is a creative project, you know. I would, you're mad if I think I'm gonna do this in survival. Yeah, it's not so bad when you have the giant gear moving and then you have the little platforms moving and everything is moving at its slowest speed. But the moment that you see the entire picture together, it hurts my brain, is what it does. So, anyway, I've kind of taken a pause on the project, and I will come back to it if I ever feel up to taking on this challenge again. I may or may not. And then I've been tossing around the idea of making the save available, like, once the series is over. I'll probably do it as, like, free on Ko-Fi. Like, it'll say free, and then it'll give you the download link. And if you want to donate, like, I mean, good on you, thank you. I'd appreciate it, that'd be great. That's not what I'm asking for, I'm just saying I'm gonna make it available. And Ko-Fi is kind of the easiest way for me to do that, I think. So, that might be what we do, and then if you guys want to give a shot at doing whatever this is, look at all the blank canvases you have. So, anyway, I'm gonna call this episode here. I just wanted to give you guys an update, just let you know, hey, you know, this is what I did. We'll be back to more normal well, we might, I don't, are we back to a normal episode next week? I don't know. I don't know what we're doing next week. We'll find out. As we do. Anyway, thanks. See y'all later. I'm gonna go wrangle this cat before he destroys my room. Have a great week. Stay safe. Have fun. Happy building. See you later.